Understanding this can change your life. So bear with me for a moment. The nervous system is divided, as we said, into two parts, sympathetic and parasympathetic. But the parasympathetic nervous system has two parts. And this has to do with the 10th cranial nerve, the vagus nerve, that comes out approximately right here, and then divides itself into two parts that take care of completely different things, which, if you understand that, can completely shift your experience of your life and the symptoms and experiences that you have. So basically, we have the ventral like in front, vagal parasympathetic nervous system, which we can call I am. So when this nerve is active, this is basically the feeling where we feel in safety, where we can create social engagement and connection, because this nerve, and figure this is wild, this nerve takes care, for example, of our tongue, parts of our ears, of our mimicry. So this allows us to be in touch with somebody, to feel somebody, to see somebody, to hear somebody. That is what this nerve does. It allows us, it's our vocal cords as well. So the way we speak, right? When we are really grounded and centered, our voice is different than when we are triggered. So this is the area where we regenerate, where we can feel empathy. For example, a mother with her child, right? When the mother with the child are like playing a little bit like this, and they're fully connected and attuned, or a father, usually they throw the child up and both are laughing and enjoying. This kind of deep connection. This is what we have with the ventral vagal parasympathetic nervous system. Now, if stress goes up, as we've discussed before, the sympathetic nervous system, which is okay, we need energy, I need energy to do this, so I'm probably around here. The energy goes up, cortisol, adrenaline, noradrenaline, so this is fine. This is where we say, I got this, I'm doing this, you're going out, you're doing your life, this is this. When the energy, however, the stress levels go up, chronic stress, toxic stress, the stress doesn't stop, then I can turns into I should, turns into I must. And how many people out there constantly must to do something? Do you know that? I know it very well, like I must this, I must that, it's like stress. So this is when life becomes a battle and when it's stressful. And if this doesn't stop and your system is already kind of geared in fight flight all the time, you're in survival mode here. This is not thriving, this is surviving. And if that doesn't stop, then the system, the other side of the parasympathetic nervous system comes in, the dorsal vagal parasympathetic nervous system, which brings us into shutdown, into conservation of energy, into I can't or I can't anymore. And if you talk to people who've experienced depression, burnout, dissociation, it is this kind of place of feeling numb, of feeling separated from the world, like as if you're there but you're not really there. And this is fascinating. It's so fascinating because this is also a way of our body, of our system to protect, to conserve energy and to separate from something that is just too much. So even if we don't talk about trauma or any kind of traumatic events that happened, but if somebody is in a high pressure, high stress work environment, let's look at London city finance, like all the time, then you're here all the time until at some point you can't anymore because the amount of coffee, which releases adrenaline from the glands and probably cocaine, at some point you drop into I can't anymore because the system can't. It's done. It goes into shutdown and into separation and into conservation. So the parasympathetic nervous system has two parts which are both equally needed but are two completely opposite things in stress. Whereas we have another stress response down here, which is kind of when people are like more like that and shy, and yes, of course, that's down here as well. But stress, how the brain and the nervous system processes stress is what goes up until here has to come down again. And so often we found ourselves in patterns that we're stuck up here in too much stress that doesn't get into I am, into regeneration anymore, because we just cannot regenerate because the system kind of forgot how to do it. So instead of regenerating down here, we fall into burnout and depression and overwhelm and exhaustion. But if you are here, all of this is underneath. And that's why very often people who are burnt out or stressed or depressed or like they can't anymore, at some point when they start to relax a bit, that energy comes back in. And this helps to understand that what we want to train in our system, and we can train this. This is what neuroalchemy does. This is what nervous system regulation does. We train the system to be here again, to learn that, to not be stuck up here or here, but to safely find our way back here again and to use our stress levels in a healthy way and naturally here and to lead our life in a way that we can do stuff, we can achieve, we can, go out there and like fucking crush it. But we can also chill and relax and regenerate and be in connection. Do you know, I have so many clients who are high achievers, founders, business owners, partners in whatever private equity firms. When they're at home, they don't really connect with the children anymore, with their partners, because the connection happens here. But they're stressed and they're stuck here because they can't get down here. And it's kind of this constant loop being up here. And that ultimately, at some point, leads to, I can't anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. So this is an overview of how the nervous system works. So the parasympathetic nervous system is divided into the ventral vagal and dorsal vagal parasympathetic nervous system, and in between the sympathetic nervous system. And this is kind of the activation curve, which will help you understand how stress works in your body. And once you understand this, you can navigate your life completely differently. And this is something you can learn. This is something that you can nurture again. So you're not a lost cause, whatever somebody might have told you, or you might have told yourself.